Hello friends, welcome to this video. Today I'm going to show you how you can transform a 2D drawing of a bridge into a full 3D object using AutoCAD. I have created this 2D drawing in a previous video in case you want to check how it's done. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and switch to 3D mode. You can switch to 3D mode by clicking on the gear that you see here or typing WS current and then selecting 3D basics. As you can see, the ribbon changes into 3D mode and you have all the commands needed to use in 3D modeling. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just change the angle using the orbit command so we have a nice slanted angle of our bridge. Now the idea here is that we need to extrude or pull up these surfaces to make it 3D. Now the problem is that when I draw this, I use the line command and I didn't use the polygon command, meaning that it's not going to be possible to extrude in a normal way. So what we have to do is first I have to transform this into a polyline if possible, but most importantly I also draw many construction lines on top of lines, so meaning that there is lines and then there is lines on top of lines that I need to remove. So for that we're gonna use a command called overkill. So if I type overkill, enter, and then I select all my object, what this is gonna do is that it's gonna delete lines that are on top of other lines. So any redundant line is gonna be erased and it's gonna therefore clear or clean my 2D drawing. And that is important for the extrusion or the pull command to work correctly. Now that the drawing has been cleaned up, I can therefore use the commands extrude or press pull. So I'm going to try using the extrude first just to show you what's going to happen. So if I click on extrude, okay, and then I select all my drawing and press enter, I can extrude, but I want you to notice, I'm going to click here and just do it, and then I'm going to orbit, that it did it, but it's not done correctly. And that is because these lines in between the two platforms of the bridge are just lines, so they don't have any thickness, and they need to have thickness in order to be more accurate and to draw the bridge as intended. And this can be especially seen in the line in between these sections here. So now we know extrude is not going to work, so I'm just going to undo it and we're going to use the next command. So the next alternative we have is press pull, and this is really what we want. So if I'm going to press pull and then it's asking me to choose an object or a bounded area, so I'm going to try to look for a bounded area, and let's say that I want to pull this. So if I click this does what I need to do. See, this pulls a section there and give it some thickness. But the problem is that, as you can see, and I'm going to undo it, as you can see, there is these lines that intersect that are on the way. So our first task is to really clean up the drawing a little bit more by removing those intersected lines. To do that, I'm going to use the trim command. So I'm going to zoom out, type trim, enter, and I'm going to select all my geometry and press enter. And now I'm going to go here and I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete these areas here so they conform one single area or bounded area for the press pull command to work as intended. Oops, and I have to be careful not to make a mistake here. This. And I'm going to go here. This, and I have to repeat the same thing for all my structures. I could also have copy pasted one section, fix one section completely and then copy paste it, and in effect building the bridge again, but this time in 3D. But I'm just showing it this way because I think it's more didactic and it's better to follow along. Alright, so I'm done with this. So when I use the command press pull, you see that now I can select this entire thing to pull up, and that is good. but I don't want to do that just now because it's just going to complicate my drawing and make my life harder to, you know, continue transforming this into 3D. The next thing I have to clean is this line. See that this is supposed to be a line, but I need to clean it up because it's just a line and I need it to be thicker. So for that, you know, since I don't have any measurements, I'm gonna estimate a measure here. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna put it again. Actually, I'm gonna go back to the top view. It's gonna be more helpful. And I'm gonna zoom. I'm gonna start here. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna draw a line. So L, enter. And this time I'm gonna draw a line. Let me just zoom here. L, enter. And I'm gonna select right click midpoint. And it should be a midpoint between this and this. So I don't have it, so I need to draw another sketch line here. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna draw a sketch line here, and a sketch line here, which I'm gonna have to remove with the overkill command again. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Line, enter. Because what I want is, and I'm, you know, it's had that midpoint there. So it's easier for me to draw that line between here, okay, and all the way to the midpoint here, and then from here all the way to the midpoint here. Alright, so the next step, I'm gonna erase those extra lines there. Let's see if I can remove, and I don't think I can, but that is good. Other things I need to do is, well, now I have this, so I should trim. Let's see, trim, and I'm gonna select this. So you see, before I can transform this into 3D, I need, since I designed it for 2D, I need to take more time to design it in 2D more correctly. So, but it doesn't take that long once you are used to the 2D commands. So I did this for this section. Now I have to repeat this for the same for the rest of the sections. So I'm gonna do that and come back to you when I'm finished. Alright, so now that I finished doing that trim and you know, cutting that those intersections there, you can see that now the drawing has been cleaned up, and now we have really three parts. We have the top roof, we have the bottom, okay, and then we have the middle section. That's all one piece that is interconnected, as you can see. Now the only problem is that I created a lot of additional sketch lines on top of other lines, so I need to go back and reuse the overkill command. So, but that's no problem. I just type overkill, I select everything. It really takes a second, and press enter and OK, and that's it. Those lines are gone, and my drawing now is really ready to be extruded. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna orbit it, slant it a little bit, because it's always good to have this kind of semi-isometric view or slanted view when you extrude something. And now I'm ready to go ahead and extrude. But actually extruding is not gonna work for the same reason that it didn't work before. So what I'm gonna need to do is use the press pull command. So I'm gonna press the press pull command, and then I'm gonna go here to the area in the middle of those you know, columns, and you see that now the bounded area is the whole entire middle of my bridge. So that's perfect. I click it, and now I can go up, and I can go up using the mouse or using a number. I'm just gonna use a number because we need to do this again for the other side. So here it's important to have some kind of consistency. So I'm gonna press 5 units and press enter, and that's it. So, and now I'm gonna just go to orbit, so you can see that now we have some thickness into those columns there. And the next should be done for the ceiling and the pavement or the base, but we are going to do that at the end. So the next thing I need to do is to make a copy of what I have done, because I'm going to need it as the other side of my bridge. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to switch to top view again. I'm going to press copy, enter to get into the copy command. I'm going to select everything, press enter. I'm just going to select this base point and I'm going to pull it down here. It really doesn't matter. And to copies is enough, but you can create a third one if you want a backup just in case you make a mistake. So that being done, the next thing that we need to do now is to extrude our ceiling and also the bottom of the bridge. So my first reaction here would be that I will extrude this ceiling and this floor, but I can't do that, like I said before, because in order for you to be able to extrude something, it has to be a closed area, so it has to be a closed polygon. And because I use the line command, and you see when I hover here, those are different lines and not a closed polyline, then I cannot extrude it. So what you could do is you could join those lines into a polygon, but it's unnecessary since we have the press pull command that will do the job without those extra steps. So I'm using the orbit command now to have a slanted view of my working area, so it's easier for me to press pull that. And then I'm gonna go here to press pull again, select an area between those two lines, and I'm gonna go up 100 units. But if you have another measurement for the width of the bridge, of course use that. So I'm gonna press 100 and that's it. And then I'm gonna go back to my orbit command to check how it's coming, and it's pretty good. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to extrude the ceiling, so I'm gonna rotate it to the different side, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna click on press pull, go between those two lines there, so the bounded area is selected. Sometimes it's tricky, it's better that I zoom, and you see that it's not working, and that means that, you know, oh, there you go, it was not working in that area, so now it works. I go up, and I'm gonna go up again 100 units like I did before, enter, and now I have, I'm gonna go back to the orbit so we can see it. Here it is. My mouse is acting up a little bit, and I'm zooming out, and now I see I have the ceiling and the floor at the same time. I'm gonna rotate, I'm gonna start like this. Alright, now the next thing that we need to do is to connect this area to this side of the bridge. So before we do that, I want to erase these lines here because we don't need them anymore. So I'm gonna delete this, and I'm gonna delete, actually I'm gonna keep these ones because these ones are the ones that I'm gonna use to actually connect it here. So I'm just gonna delete that. Let me just sketch here lines that I can delete. There you go. Okay, and we are almost ready to move it to the top. So that can be done in two ways. The easiest way is to use the mirror command and just mirror this and to this plane. And the second way is to just use this extra section that I placed here and then move it into place. I'm going to show you both ways. So I'm going to show you first how to mirror this area here, which it should be the fastest way. So to mirror that section, it's very simple. I go here and then I click where it says 3D mirror. It's in the modify subsection on the home tab, and the first step is to select the object to mirror, and which is this. Since I have modified before, it's a one single object, so it's very nice and easy. I press enter. The second thing is I have to select the X, Y and Y mirroring angles. Now the trick here is that you have to select the midpoint between the width of this bridge as the X axis, and I'm selecting the midpoint, and then you have to select the midpoint as the Y axis too. So I'm going to select the midpoint here. The next step is, do you want to delete the source objects? And no, because I want to have both. So I put N, enter, and that's it. My other side of the bridge has been successfully mirrored, and my bridge is practically complete. Now the second way of doing this is a little bit longer and in a way a little more tricky, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. So I'm going to undo that mirroring, and I'm going to go back here. Now I need to move and then place it or put it in place, but the problem here is that you see here that my lines, my geometry is drawn on this side and not on this side. So I'm going to put the line command, so it's drawn on these edges and not on these ones. I should be drawn on these edges so I can have a good reference point. But that's no problem. What I could do is I could draw a line here, right, and then draw another line here. So I need to use some sketch lines here, and let me see if I'm doing it in the right way. See, I'm doing it in the wrong plane, so I have to go back. Well, let's delete this. Okay, Okay, I need to draw a line going up here. Okay, and this edge is going to be my reference point. And once I have that, I can go back here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is this. I can copy, enter. I'm going to select, all my geometry, make sure I have everything. Okay, I'm going to press enter. Now my reference point, my base point is going to be this center here. And then I'm going to move this center all the way to this edge here. And I had to be a little bit careful here. This is where it gets tricky doing it in this way, because I had to rotate it in the right side. I want to go to this edge. So I'm going to go here, zoom, and you can see this is much more difficult than doing it the normal way. Click here, and that's it. And that's it. I just copy paste it in place. And I achieve the same result. But again, the mirror command is a much faster way to do things. So the last thing I want to show you is how you can add materials to your 3D object and then render it. So first you go to the Home tab and you click right next to it on the Visualize tab, and then you go to the Materials section and click on Materials Browser. Now these are all the materials available for you to use in your object. So if you double click on something, for example this wood, you will have a preview of how it will look. And you can also make some different changes here. For now, this wood looks good for my bridge, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop that material on top of the surfaces that I want to assign it to. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And of course you can see how you can have different materials added here if you want it. Next thing, I'm gonna delete this extra side here that I don't need anymore, because I want my drawing to look good before rendering. So, and then I'm gonna cross it here. So the last step is for me to render it, but before I do it, I had to have it in a view that is the one I want to render. So rendering is creating a photorealistic recreation of the object with the materials that you choose, but I don't want the rendering to look like this, because it looks like the bridge just collapsed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to 3D rotate this object, because I need to rotate it, and then I'm going to select all of it, enter, and I'm going to use this red orbit line that you see here, because that's the axis that I want it rotated to. You see, if I move the mouse, it rotates in different increments of 90 degrees. So I'm going to put it here, click, enter, and that's it. This is exactly how I want the bridge to look. I'm going to change this view to maybe look like this. Notice that I have some geometry here that I need to remove. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to take care of that. And now it's gone. Alright, this is the view that I want. So the next thing I'm going to do is render it. Now the render section is here on the right. So notice that there is a drop down that says low, medium, high, etc, etc. So it also gives me an approximate time that it's going to take to render. Okay, 10 minutes, you even have an hour, etc. So the more time you use, the more photorealistic, the better it's going to look your rendering or your object. So you have to decide which one you want to use and experiment with. For me, I'm just going to use the first low one, and then I'm going to click. This is going to take less than a minute, and then when you are done with that, okay, and you can also select if you want it to render it in a window, viewport, or region, okay, and when it's ready, just click on render, and that's going to start the rendering process as you see there. And depending again on which one you selected, the object is going to look better or worse in quality. Right now this is it. It has been rendered. It's in the low. You know it's finished because you see these green bars here next to the coffee cup. They are green and all the way up. So you see this doesn't look that good. When I zoom, it looks really bad. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try the medium rendering and then come back to you after it's done. So I'm back and I changed the settings from low to actually high, because when I did it in medium it still didn't look that good. And this is the final result, and it's pretty good. You can see the bridge. It has the shades of the different columns that it creates. It's very cool. If you zoom in, you can see it much better than in the low quality. It's still a little blurry if I zoom a lot, okay, but still very good final result compared to the low or the medium quality settings. And well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up, write in your comments. That really is what supports this channel and my efforts to create more videos. I really thank you for watching, and have a great day.